this post is where I was just like, get out my popcorn. He's going after his own industry, the industry that he's a part of. You kind of liken it to a Ponzi scheme, but you say it's not really a Ponzi scheme, but then also you drew the analogy to a Ponzi scheme. And some of this resonated with me because I'm not a big data guy. Like I can see narratives well illustrated with data. You know, like you say a thing and then you show a thing. And I've always enjoyed that. But when it comes to like data oriented decision making, I always find it kind of like, I don't know, the cart and the horse or the chicken and the egg, or like I feel like the tail's wagging the dog, you know, as I try to actually make decisions based on data. That's just my personal experience. And this post here, you're talking about like, do analytics actually do what we all say they'll do in practice, which is inform you to make better decisions. This is like the version of the analytics team you're talking about where they're like informing the leadership to make better decisions. And then it's like, is that actually doing what it's supposed to be doing? And you say this in that post: analytics, not as an industry or a technology ecosystem, but as a discipline, might not work. The average company may never be able to make better decisions by hiring a team of average analysts. We can make dashboards and be operational accountants, but the fun, exploratory, valuable work may always be an indulgent, empty dessert and never the entree that we want it to be. I know you have a follow-up post to that. And I know that you're very much analyzing and considering your own industry. But quite a question, and one that I was like, dang, I mean, is the whole thing a pipe dream? What do you think?
Yeah, kind of. Like, I mean, it's like individually, yes, or individually, maybe not, collectively, yes. I think that so the backstory a little bit is, and anybody who's worked around, anybody who's worked like sort of anywhere, but certainly worked around tech and stuff, knows that like data has been for a long time this kind of like promise of smarter organizations, that like data companies have to be data driven or die. And like that's, to some extent, I think that is back to the sports bit. Like there is some, oh, look what's happening with sports. If these people don't have data teams, they'll become like terrible sports teams. And every company is going to have that same evolution where if you don't moneyball like your business, then you will be dead.
Right.
And so analysts for a time and like data scientists kind of, this was like the sexiest job of the 21st century thing. Part of the reason for that was like, this was a famous blog post by a couple of people, DJ Patel being one, who's the guy who kind of coined the term data scientist, that data science is going to be the sexiest job of the 21st century. And like, generally there was a mindset a while back that like these people are, you know, they're going to change the way everything operates. And like just being smart with data was this huge advantage that everybody eventually needed to be able to take advantage of. And it's kind of been like a no true Scotsman thing. So like the no true Scotsman thing is like, you say this person's a Scotsman, but they don't like whatever. And it's like, well, no true Scotsman wouldn't like that. And so like, you basically just like reject anything that isn't a Scotsman by saying the person that you're talking about actually isn't a real one. Everything with data has sort of been like, if a data team struggles to get stuff right, or like a company doesn't tries to do this stuff with data, but it doesn't work, it's like, well, they're not doing it right. That's not a true data team that's like doing this the way that we all know is possible. And I think like this has happened for long enough, and enough companies have sort of like put investments in their data infrastructure and are like not that much better at how they operate, that I think you have to start wondering if it's worth it. And to me, that isn't necessarily saying like the potential isn't there. Right. It's not necessarily saying like, if you could interrogate this data so smartly, you may find things that actually make you better. You may actually be able to find patterns in this that could make you a fundamentally better business. I think like, yeah, maybe that's true. I don't know. The problem is it may be that it's so hard to get at that most people don't have the ability to do it. And like, it's just such a hard problem to do that the idea that we all need to do this is like, it's just not going to work. It's just like as a general discipline, it's not valuable unless you are like a very, very, very sort of top tier analyst or whatever. And there's not that many of those. And so for most of us who are trying to do it, it's like, we're just not being that useful. Like, we don't really say this about other disciplines. We don't really say like HR is the thing that every business needs to have an amazing HR team.
Right.
There probably are some companies that HR truly is a differentiator, that they like truly are better businesses because they have great HR leadership that really